So, let me get the light on here. This is the typical issue with sway bars. When I bought the car, I didn't think of anything of it. I just, I was gonna replace it later. But one of the sway bar bushings had been replaced on that side. But on this side, it was still the old one with the old bracket. And when I finally decided I was gonna go pull this off, I'm gonna put real rubber back on this stuff. Of course, those nuts are spinning. You can see I've cut the bracket off, I've cut the bolts out, and I've tack welded those nuts in place, and they're not going anywhere. But I cannot, I've drilled, you can see, I was trying to use easy outs. That hole right there, I broke the drill bot off in. I was able to get it out, but and I was able to get the left-handed drill bit in there, but it just won't turn. I just can't break it loose. I've had some PB Blaster on it for a couple days now. That one, the easy out, you can see the holes filled. Easy out actually broke off in it, so I'm hosed in there. I think I'm gonna have to go buy the little kit to, they're called riv nuts. You gotta buy a tool. It's about 45 bucks on Amazon. I think I'm gonna just have to drill those nuts and bolts out of there and replace them. I'll probably, these are 40 something years old as well. I may end up drilling those out as well, just to put new rev nuts in those as well, just to make sure I don't have an issue. And then of course I'll put anti-seize back on them. But just one more fun issue with old cars. Yeah, so once I have a different idea or something else that I'm going to do, I'll bring you back to this. These aren't going anywhere, so I'm just going to replace them. I'm going to grind them out, pull the pieces out, and replace them. I just have to be very, very careful to not grind the frame any and mess up those holes at all. And I went and bought this tool. This is for what are called riv nuts. This is a riv nut. They're 3/8/16. And let's see, it's got a little, let's put it down. See the striations. Those are supposed to hold it in place in the hole. And then this tool, we thread the 3/8/16 bit in here. And what it does is it goes up in there into the threads, which are on the back half of the insert, and it pulls this top half down, and that area mushrooms to sandwich the hole. So now that I think actually these striations are not for gripping the hole, they're actually to weaken the metal a little bit in that area, so it'll actually pull it down and mushroom out. So you see I bought the tool, it's on Amazon for 45 bucks. Tools, I'm sure it's just a Chinese knockoff. Came with the inserts, a bunch of different sizes, and you can see it's got a bunch of different inserts that you can do. And we're going to be, there's metric as well as standard, and we're going to be using that one, the 3/8/16. That's the biggest size this will do, so I'm a little worried that this tool is not going to be able to actually squish that. In that case, we may have to go buy a hardened bolt and make our own little tool. We'll see if we have to do that. But yeah, we'll bring you back when we got those out. Okay guys, so you see I got them grinded out. They're both out. I've kind of cleaned that hole up just a little bit with the sanding discs. I'm about to do that one, and then here's the tool with the insert on top of it. As soon as we get that ready, I'll bring you back. Looks like the holes are actually in real good shape. They didn't mess them up too bad. Got the frame a little bit on this side, but nothing major. So yeah, we'll clean it up, put new inserts in, and we'll bring you back. Okay guys, so I got them both in. I was actually surprised at how well this tool worked. The way you do this, and I'm kind of staging this, I've already done it. You start the tool with the arms apart, almost horizontal. You push the thing up in there and then squeeze the two arms together, and that's what compresses that. And then you use this knob to just back it back out. And you'll see I kind of went back and did it again. I spread them back, put it back up in there, and just squeezed it a little bit more just to make sure that it was tight. And now what I'll do is I'll go back in place and tack it to make sure that I don't have to deal with this again. Let's see, come on. Having to screw it, there it goes. So, and if you look at them, they're actually really, really well. I think they run the bolts in them already. It works, seems to have worked. Again, with a couple tack bolts, I think we'll be in good shape. Something I did forget to mention, so I stuck them, I ground this one down and pushed it up in there, and using that hole from the front, used a magnet to pull the nut out. Well, there's a, set this down real quick. There's a plate that like separates, it goes like that inside here, so you can't get to the back nut. So I had to stick a magnet in one of these side holes, pushed the punch up in there, stuck the magnet to the punch, pulled the punch down to where it attached to the, got the nut. This is once I ground it down and pushed it up in there, and then I pulled it out that top hole. Not the most elegant solution, but it worked. Had some help from the next door neighbor coming up with that one. So, but yeah, they actually work real well. I think I'm going to probably tack these. I'm going to leave these alone for now. Since they're the original ones, I'll probably go and tack them in place just to make sure they don't spin in the future, and then just not worry about it. All right, we'll bring you back when we got more. Okay, so got the, I told you I got the nuts out. These are what they look like. Of course, the lips are ground off, but you can see how it squeezes it down and pinches the frame metal. But yeah, it's filthy in there. Unfortunately, this car, I don't know what was going on, but there was power steering fluid and mud and dirt and oil. I mean, you can see all the power steering fluid and stuff, but everywhere you go, there's dirt and mud up in there. I don't know if this car's sitting in the dirt or something like that, because I know there's some inside the K-member as well. So yeah, if I was gonna do a full restoration and get all cleaned up and everything, but I'm getting eager to get this back on the road, so I want to do things as I go. So anyway, back on the bushings, you see, back on the sway bar. So you see I got those painted, tacked and painted in place. This is this side, the white. So those are tacked and painted. And I got the replacement parts for the brackets. What were on here before were some aftermarket polyurethane things, so I wanted to go back to GM stuff, and you can see this is from Ames. They are actually still the original GM. It's S163. Now I'm not positive if these are the right ones. I'm going to check fit those. And then here's the bolts, FS417K, also from Ames. And these are the end links, which is S153B. One last thing, these are the GM 1 1/4 inch sway bar bushings. Ramcoa? I think these things came from Classic. I don't see a... That's the part number. Oh, there it is. That's from Classic. GN 111025. So yeah, I'm gonna test fit. I'm in the process. I'm gonna blast the bar, paint it, clean it, all that kind of fun stuff. You can see I've been blasting out the paint out in the parking lot. So yeah, I'm gonna check fit these, and then that's gonna be it for the day. Okay guys, here's some question for you. Working with the sway bar on the Trans Am. Now, when I took it off, I don't have them. It had, so the previous owner had put these urethane energy suspension sway bar bushings on because one of the rubber bushings, the original rubber bushings, had gone bad. He had replaced one of them. The issue was the other one had some spun nuts in the frame. The rev nuts had spun, and I've worked on replacing those. You'll see those in the video. But my question is about bolts. So I did order replacement bolts because I thought when I took those off on the one side that, well, he replaced the bolts from aftermarket bolts. What I'm finding is I don't know that he really did, because these are the sockets, and I've asked a couple of people online if that's the kind of the stock bolt, which I think it is. It's a 3/8/16 hex socket, whatever you want to call it, bolt. When I ordered it, this is what I ordered from Ames, FS417K. They sent me these. These are for 77 to 81 front sway bar kit bolt. Now, when I got them, I was like, I don't think that's right, because really what it is it's a 10mm head. I think it's a metric thread, and the interesting thing is I can't even get it in the 3/8/16, I don't know if you can capture it. You can see the end of the bolt is kind of triangular. It's got some sort of, I think that's some sort of locking thread. All of them are like that. Well, I called Ames and asked them, okay, these aren't the right bolts, because from what I've been told, these are the right bolts. He's like, well, all the research we've done, that's the right bolt for 77 to 81. So, okay, so I'm not gonna be able to return them and get credited for shipping. So, my question is, does anybody have any information that debates that? That fits. If you go to Ames's website and you actually look for a kit for, I think it's like 73 to 76, it shows those. Now, this car is a 77. It was, I need to go pull the documentation for it, but I think it was a early to mid-year 77. And the reason I think that is because it still has the tall shaker on it. At first, I didn't think that was right for this car either, because 77s usually have the skinny one. But based on when it was made, and I'll put that in some words. I'll go look it up on the PHS documentation. I think it may be right for this car, the taller one. They may still been either using. Anyway, I'll put the date in there. It's either late enough that it was getting the 78 version of it, or it's early enough where they hadn't transitioned over yet. So I'll put the dates in here, right there. So there's some oddities with this car. I've got the PHS documentation, so it is what it says it is, but manufacturer dates and quality control back then may not be all that it was cracked up to be. But back to the bolts. If you guys got any other information, anything that you could tell me, maybe this is a late model year through the 81s. This is not a very significant bolt compared to that one in my mind. And this the sway bar arms at 1 1/4 inch. So yeah, would love for some input from you guys. All right, we'll bring you back. Okay guys, so I don't know if I recorded it, but I did get this sandblasted. This is the sway bar, 1 1/4 inch for the Trans Am. I sandblasted it and then put some OSFO on it to kind of preserve it. Sanded it down a little bit. That was actually last weekend. forgot to film. So there it is, all strung up and cleaned. And then I'm gonna put some HD self-etch primer on it. And then as of now, I'm not sure this is right. It may need to be silver, but what I had bought was, this is VHT's chassis black, which I thought was what I needed, but maybe not. You guys let me know if there's, the brackets are reproduction. I think I've showed those. They're not reproductions. They're genuine GM parts that I got from Ames Performance. And they are black. So I don't know if it's all supposed to be black or if there's a certain portion of it that's supposed to be silver to give it some contrast. I think it kind of looked cool silver, but I want to kind of go back original. So they're actually GM parts that I got from Ames. I have the part number, maybe I've already showed it, but you can see they're chassis black as well. Part numbers on there. No, it used to be on there. Let's see. Yeah, receipts at home. I'll put the part number in there if I haven't already. All right, we'll bring you back. Okay, so here we go. We're putting sway bar back together. So this is the new Moog or whatever parts. And match up to the old ones. This is the new sway bar in-link kits. So this is gonna go in there. Actually, let's get the parts put it together first. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this up in there. We're gonna slide this down. Another washer, spacer, another washer, and then another spacer before we put the bar on between the last spacer and the last washer and the nut. So I'll get those put on. You can see I got the bar painted. And then here's the replacement bushings and the replacement stock-like mountings. This was the old, this is what the previous owner had in it. These are the urethane ones, just general aftermarket. And I blackened those nuts and bolts, and then got the, what I think are the right screws here, and fasteners. All right, we'll bring you back when I've got some more progress. Okay guys, so we got all the main mounts in first. That was a real nightmare. Threads were kind of dirty and nasty on this side, so bolts didn't want to go in. Plus all the rubber's new, so we didn't want to compress. Spent a lot more time with it than I want to, but they're on and in. And now I'm working on the strut ends. So all that's put together. You can see I got the top washer and the top nut on, and what I had to do was lower the car down and lift the wheel up, compress the suspension to be able to drive it up, push the suspension up enough to get that nut started. Done this side, and now I'm gonna have to go over and do that side. Oh crap, it slipped off. All right, well, maybe hopefully I can get it back on. All right, we'll bring you back. All right, so we're all back in. Got everything tightened down, everything's locked. The rubber hammer on that a little bit. Trying to get the bracket back over. I'm afraid actually that popped loose when I was tightening this down. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. I still have to blow this entire front end apart to clean it up and replace a lot of the bushings. I'm just trying to get somewhat back on the road before I have to do all that. We'll see. This was a bigger bear than I thought it was gonna be. I was gonna go in much easier. So those are all tight. Those are all tight. I loaded the car down and I torqued it down. So I'll have to go look tonight and see if there's any videos on like how to final adjustment. I lowered it down and I final tightened those bushings. I kind of compressed them a little bit while the suspension was loaded, so I think that's the right way, but y'all let me know. These are torqued down. I don't have a number. I need to go look that up and I'll come back and do that. But yeah, otherwise it's all in. Much better than it was. All right.